Meagher, aka Alf Stewart from Home and Away, you're very welcome to Cork.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
How have you been getting on so far? What have you seen since you've been here?
Look, I haven't seen much at all. I've only been here for 24 hours, roughly. Landed about midday yesterday, and we've been on the go ever since. I came via Dubai, and my suitcase liked Dubai so much it stayed there, and I came on to Dublin. So I've made do with one shirt and one pair of undies for a while, but it's okay now. I've got a fresh lot.
Well, have you used the inside-out trick? You just turn them over and you can get another...
Look, I've heard that one, but I might have done that 50 years ago, but not so much now.
All right, we have to talk about Home and Away anyway.
Do we?
We do.
You sure?
Yeah, we do, definitely. You're the only original cast member still there, which is amazing in itself. But what is it about this show that just has you sticking there for so long?
I can't find the exit door, basically, and my car won't start in the car park, so, you know. Look, no, I don't know. I resisted going into a soap when it started.
Okay.
I was lucky enough to have done about 30 Australian movies and a lot of miniseries and guest roles in a lot of things that were going on and a fair bit of theatre. So, fortunately, I was busy. Mm-hmm. In between two miniseries that I was doing, the pilot for Home and Away came up, and my agent said, "Do you want to do that?" And I thought, "Oh well, I've got 3 weeks off."
Might as well go for it.
Pilots never get off the ground anyway. They usually crash and burn. And so we did it, and then within about 2 weeks, the network said, "Look, we're going to take that thing to series, and we want everybody to sign for 2 years." And at that stage, I thought 2 years was a lifetime, so I wasn't going to sign for 2 years. And they said, "Well, what about a year?" And I said, "Nah." And then they said, "Well, 6 months?" And I said, "Yeah, right, 6 months." And, 27 years later, here I am after saying I wouldn't sign for 2 years.
Yeah.
But having been a jobbing actor for 15 or 20 years or something before that, and you're all over the country and in other countries at some time just doing whatever was going, it was really nice in that 6 months to live in the city that I come from and to be able to go home to your own house, your own bed every night and then go to work the next day, and that was all pretty appealing. And so I did another 6 months and then another 6 months, and away it went from there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And 27 years, you're still there. That's amazing.
Yeah. Into our 28th year.
Yeah.
But yes.
That's fantastic. And this is probably going to be a very difficult question, but out of the 28 years that you've almost been there, what has been your favourite storyline?
Look, it is a difficult question, mainly because I can't remember. There's one of my favourite storylines coming up. We're doing a strain in a story that honours our servicemen and women who fought in the First World War. So 100 years since Gallipoli. And not just the First World War, but all corridors of war that Australians have been involved in, like the First, the Second, Vietnam, and all of that. And Alf Stewart is a Vietnam veteran, did 2 tours of duty over there. And he, the 100-year thing comes up, and the kids at the school, they're trying to get them to be more appreciative of what the servicemen and women have done for them. And the kids are a little bit indifferent to wanting to go to the Australian War Memorial to see what happened and all of that. Alf hears about this and gets just a little bit upset about their lack of enthusiasm.
Right, okay.
And then eventually they talk him into going, and we find out when he gets there that he's never, ever been to the Australian War Memorial, not since, however many years it is since Vietnam, since the 60s. And then we find out why he's resisted going and all of that. And it turns out that he's suffering from post-traumatic stress syndrome later on in life. So it's a very serious subject matter. And I think we do it justice. I think it's a really good storyline.
Brilliant. Well, we can't wait.
No, you don't have to watch anymore,
Well, your character is also very famous for saying particular words, like flaming mongrel and flaming galah. But what's the one phrase that you get stopped on the street and asked to say all the time? Like, out of all of the words that you're saying, what you're famous for, what's the one thing that people stop and they go, "Oh my God, will you say that for me, please?"
Look, any of those two cop quite a bit of airplay. Stone the Flamin' Crows gets a run every now and again. Your flamin' long-haired Yahoo gets a run. So any or all of those get a run, yeah.
Brilliant stuff. Now, during the week we saw Ed Sheeran in Summer Bay. Were you there when that happened?
I was in Australia. I worked Tuesday and Thursday on Home and Away and flew out Thursday night. Ed was there working on the Wednesday.
Okay.
So I didn't see him, but the cast said he was very nice, and yeah.
Any inside scoop there about what he did, what he said? Because he's Ireland's favourite ginger, we need to ask questions about him.
Yeah. Look, all I know is that he was on the beach, so he's involved in some outdoor scenes, and they flew him by airplane. There's a seaplane that lands at Palm Beach near where we film. They put him in that about midday, flew him back to Sydney proper, and then he came in and did some shooting in the studio itself as well. So, and everybody was raving about him, said what a nice guy he was, and very amenable, and yeah. So there you go.
Brilliant. Now, Home and Away, as you probably can tell, is massive over here in Ireland. There's people that I know that go home and watch the show on their lunch break. They dedicate their lunch break to watch you and everyone else. So why do you think it's done so well for itself in Ireland?
Firstly, thank you to those people for keeping us off the street. Pardon me, for keeping us off the street for all these years. We really appreciate your support. Why it's done so well, I've got no idea. I'd hazard a guess that one of the reasons is you have a fairly long winter here, and you go home and just turn that little set on, and there's the sunshine and the waves rolling in, and maybe it takes you out of the winter for just a little while. So, or for half an hour a day, maybe. Yeah, because it's never, ever winter in Summer Bay.
Yes.
So even in our winter, when people are shivering and doing all that, you've got to sort of play it hot.
And there's also been some A-list celebrities that have started out on Home and Away, like Chris Hemsworth and Danny Minogue. Do they ever call around to the set for a chat and to catch up with people or anything like that?
Actually, Chris did call in the other day. I missed him too. But he did come and see me and Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, the musical in the West End, when he was filming... what was he filming there? Snow White and the Huntsman. And he came to see the show, and we went out and had dinner afterwards and told a lot of lies and caught up with a lot of things. So, yeah, he's a lovely guy. It's really nice to see the really nice, grounded people do well. And
definitely.
Steve Peacock's another one that's having a go there a bit now, and he's a lovely bloke too. So when the nice ones do well, you think, you beauty, there is a God after all. They deserve it. They work hard for it, and they deserve it. When you see the occasional one who sort of... is in the show for 10 minutes, gets a few photographs on a few magazines, and then the head won't fit through the door, you think, oh, no, he can't do well, please.
Yes.
And I don't mean that, really, but some of the kids do get a bit carried away without putting in the work and would rather maybe go to the opening of an envelope rather than do a bit of work on the script and try and improve as an actor. Okay. Whereas the Hemsworths of this world, Steve Peacock, Ryan Quanten, those sort of guys... Isla Fisher, they worked hard at the job, and then the rest follows, rather than being interested in doing the rest and the work gets in the way of that opening night party. That's the wrong focus. So
yeah, and has Brax wrapped up with you now? Because we're just seeing him and the trial at the moment, but he's done his final scenes with you. Was that an emotional experience, saying goodbye to all of the cast and the crew?
Look, it's a funny thing. I was there, for that. It is a funny thing. In all the time that the Braxtons were there, which was about 3.5 years, I probably only did, I don't know, a maximum of a dozen scenes with Steve. But they were usually scenes like, the Braxtons were from the wrong side of the tracks and all was in trouble, and even though sometimes their motives were good and Brax has a heart of gold and, he might do a drug deal or something, but then somebody would need $20,000 for a liver transplant or something. So, no, I've just happened to have that hanging around. There you go. Where did it come from? Oh, no, I don't know where it came from. So those sorts of things. But there were a few scenes where he was in a bit of strife family-wise and had a few problems, and Alf would say to him, he wouldn't say, I condone your drug dealing, your murdering, your guns to people's heads. That's all fine, Brax. But no, Alf would go over and say, listen, anything we can do for you, just sing out. You're one of us now. You realise that, and all of this sort of stuff. So those sorts of scenes were quite good. It was almost Summer Bay establishment accepting a river boy for himself sort of business.
Fantastic. Yeah. Absolutely love it. Come here, I'd love to sit and chat with you all day. We're under pressure for time. Ray Meagher, aka Alf Stewart from Home and Away, thanks so much for talking to us here on the red carpet today, and enjoy the rest of your time in Cork.
Thank you very much for having me. I didn't realise we were on a red carpet, but that's great. Does it fly? Does it fly? I've done a lot of pantomime. The carpets always fly there.
It does. Thanks very much for chatting to us.
Thank you.
Ray Meagher, everybody.